In the Sagittal Hip Disassociation Strength Series, you're now going to be standing on one leg, bending over, using a lot of alignment. And this exercise is really a progression from the Hip Neuromuscular Disassociation Strength Series, where you're learning how to align and disassociate hip movement, so the attachment of where the femur goes to the acetabulum, awesome, from disassociating from the pelvic position alignment, disassociation from spinal movement or lumbar specific movement. And that's really in sports what happens is they lose the disassociation of what joint should really be stabilizing or aligned. And in that moment, that's where shear stress occurs and damage happens to the body. So let's both create performance here and keep damage from happening. So to do this exercise, you're going to stand on one foot. You're going to bend the knee 20 degrees. Don't do this with a fully straight knee because you're just stacking the joints and your muscles aren't having to work. The foot should be straight. You should not be pronating or supinating the foot during the exercise. Knees at 20 degrees. Hip is of course flexed because the knee is flexed. Pelvis, very important from a sagittal plane, this motion here, this direction here. The pelvis needs to be neutral. So it should stay in a neutral, fixed position, not anteriorly tilted and not posteriorly tilted, but neutral position. That will keep the spine basically aligned all the way up throughout, but you do want to keep that thoracic spine pretty straight. In the center of the ear, in line with the center of the shoulder. Once you've got all that intact, what you're looking at from a frontal plane is that you want to keep the patella tendon in line with the second and third toe. Then, to the best of the ability, you want to keep the acetabulum or hip joint in a line with the patella tendon. You're standing on one foot, so it is impossible to keep perfect alignment because you just can't balance like that regardless of how athletic you are. But you do want to try to keep that hip over the patella tendon as much as possible. But here you can have perfection from second and third toe up to the patella. Maintain all of the alignment you just learned and perform this motion with the hands on the pelvis the entire time. So in level 1, the hands are on the pelvis for the entire set, as you can see here. Good, and now let's turn around and let's look at some other aspects of this exercise. So go ahead and go into end range of eccentric action. So as Matt gets into end range of eccentric action here, notice, doing great, buddy. Look how level his pelvis is, right? It's not Trendelenburging, so drop this side down. It's not doing this, which is such a common mistake for this motion and this type of exercise, or retro Trendelenburging, which is being up here, or getting out of alignment and kind of turning. So if you're a Superman, you'd be like veering to the right, correct? So let's come back up, restart, and go back to, so none of those things you want to happen. You don't want Trendelenburg where this side, the non-support side is falling, the non-support side is lifting, nor veering to the side. You want to keep all straight motion without frontal plane compensations. Go to end range of motion and come back up. And lastly, hands being on the pelvis, you can turn around, Matt, is important. And in your fingers and your fingertips especially, you have the greatest proprioception. So this is where you create body awareness and feeling and sensation or afferent sensory signaling through the fingertips, through the hands. So by having the hands on the pelvis, it helps create additional proprioception into the pelvis, into the core and center of the body.